This is Geography for Class 6. Children, today we are going to deal with our topic, water bodies of the world, and within this we shall be covering the topic, oceans. As you are well aware, about 3/4 of the Earth's surface is covered by water. Okay, so this water that is covering the Earth, that area is called the hydrosphere. The word hydro means water, so it's watersphere or hydrosphere. Water is found in three forms: solid, liquid, and gas. As you are well aware, the solid state of water is ice. Under ice, we can find water in the form of the polar ice caps, the glaciers, and icebergs. In the form of gas, we have water vapor, which is available in the atmosphere. Today, we are going to study about liquid, that is water. So, this water is found in rivers, lakes, ponds, streams, underground, as well as in oceans and seas. But you should remember, children, that most of the water in oceans and seas are salty and they cannot be used directly. Only about 2% of the water that is available is fresh water, which we can use for drinking purposes. This water is found in rivers, ponds, lakes, and underground, which we can extract with the help of wells. But the remaining 97% of water is salty, and this is found in the oceans and seas in different quantities. Here you have got some images. The one on the left is a nautilus. Okay, it's moving. And the one on the right, the two images, are of the ribbon moray eels. There's a lot of interesting marine life under the water. So, children, from times immemorial, that means before we have got a written record of it, people have been using water and oceans to travel for different purposes, for food and so on. Okay, some stone tools were found in Crete, which were used in ocean exploration. And when were these tools made? They were made around 130,000 years before Jesus Christ. Okay, how did we get that? Through radiocarbon dating. So, people have been making tools to use in ocean exploration. Around 4,500 years before Christ, Greece, Egypt, and China may have used oceans for food, trade, and warfare. As you can see, China is here, this has got a huge amount of the ocean facing it. Here we have got Greece and Egypt. Egypt is here, Greece is up here. Alright, so these places use the oceans most probably for food, trade, as well as for fighting. 1500 years before Christ, Middle Eastern people explored the Indian Ocean down here. 600 to 200 years before Christ, the Phoenicians and Greeks discovered sea trade routes. They discovered the ways to come out down to the Indian Ocean or to the Atlantic Ocean. 450 years before Jesus Christ was born, we have someone called Herodotus, and he published a map of the Mediterranean region up here. 150 years after Christ, Ptolemy produced a very interesting and extraordinary map. It was a map of the world. It had latitudes, longitudes, continents, and oceans. And around the end of the 15th and the early 16th century, Columbus reached America, Vasco da Gama reached India, Amerigo Vespucci explored the New World, and Ferdinand Magellan, he took his ships and he traveled all around the world. And seeing that people could travel around the world, everyone started traveling. Here are certain pictures which you can see of the different marine life that we have in our oceans. Children, we have got 5 oceans in our world. They are Pacific, Atlantic, Indian, Arctic, and the Southern Ocean. The Pacific Ocean, children, has got interesting creatures like these. The first one is, yes, penguins. The second one are manta rays. And the third one is a dugong. So these creatures inhabit or they stay in the Pacific Ocean. Other than these, we have octopuses, dolphins, whales, seals also. Sea turtles also stay here. This Pacific Ocean, children, is the largest and deepest of the Earth's oceanic divisions. The name Pacific was coined by the Portuguese explorer Ferdinand Magellan when he was circumnavigating the world in 1521. When he reached this area, he found favorable winds and it was very calm and peaceful. So he called it Mar Pacifico, which in both Portuguese and Spanish means peaceful sea. This ocean extends from the Arctic Ocean in the top to the Southern Ocean in the south, to Asia towards the west side, as well as Australia, and the North and South America towards the right hand side. So this ocean is about 16 crore square kilometers in area, and it is the largest division of the world oceans. It covers about 46% of the Earth's water surface and about 33% of the total Earth's surface. So it is larger than all the land masses combined. Okay, this Pacific Ocean has got a deepest point called the Challenger Deep. It is located in the Mariana Trench. It reaches a depth of 10,928 meters. This area has got a lot of tropical storms and tsunamis. It has got very active volcanoes and earthquakes in the Pacific Rim, which leads to the creation of the Pacific Ring of Fire. Here you can see the Pacific Ring of Fire. Alright. This area has got the largest amount of islands. It has got about 25,000 islands in the Pacific Ocean. Alright. And this Pacific Ring of Fire that is shown here, it has got a lot of earthquakes and volcanic eruptions. It covers an area of about 40,000 kilometers, and there are about 452 volcanoes here. So here you can see the different volcanoes. For those who have never seen, in fact even I have not seen a live volcano, and I don't want to either. So volcanoes are pretty destructive, but the soil that they leave behind is very fertile. Remember the Black Deccan soil that we had done? Yes, so that is what is the residue from volcanoes. Other than this, the Pacific Ocean also has a garbage patch. This is the Great Pacific Garbage Patch. It is located in the yellow circle on the upper left hand corner. So this area, children, is a collection of plastic and floating trash. It is got from countries like Asia, Australia, South America and North America. So these countries dump their wastes into the ocean and they all get collected in this manner in the Pacific Ocean. This area is very, very enormous. It is ever growing and it lies between the areas of Hawaii, California and Japan. Okay, this belt. Okay, this is actually terrible, children. Why? Because marine life can eat up the plastic that is thrown in this manner. Birds as well as fish, okay, and sea creatures think it's food and they ingest it, they eat it up, and then they get a tummy ache, they become terribly ill, and even other creatures who eat them up get the plastic in their bodies and they also become ill and they also die. So lakhs and lakhs of sea creatures die because of garbage dumped in the ocean. Also, animals can also become trapped in plastic nets and rings, which can cause their death. Sea turtles are extremely vulnerable to this threat. If you read down below, you will see the Great Pacific Garbage Patch covers 8.1% of the Pacific Ocean, which is twice the size of USA. You can imagine the size of this dirt patch. Moving on, the Atlantic Ocean is the second largest and the busiest as well as the saltiest ocean. It is roughly 10 crore square kilometers and has an average depth of 3,600 meters. It covers about 20% of the Earth's surface and 29% of the water surface area. In the background is the image of the Atlantic Ocean. It is in the shape of an S. It extends all the way from Europe and Africa in the east and North America and South America in the west. It is bound by these land masses. On top it is bound by the Arctic Ocean. At the bottom there is the Southern Ocean. And towards this side we have the Indian Ocean, while towards this side we have the Pacific Ocean. This Atlantic Ocean is divided by the Atlantic Ridge. The Atlantic Ridge, children, is a huge continental shelf. It extends all the way from Ireland in the north to the Bowie Islands in the south. It is a submarine ridge. Do you remember submarine? That means it is under the water. Okay, and the tips of these mountains that comes out, they form islands like the Azores, Cape Verde, etc. Other than these, there are deep basins, that means deep sinking areas within the ocean itself, like the Labrador Basin and the Brazil Basin. There are also famous islands like Newfoundland, British Isles, West Indies, Falkland, Bermuda. But the Atlantic Ocean has got very few islands. Bermuda is a coral island. So that is the extent of the Atlantic Ocean. Up here is the North Atlantic Ocean, down below is the South Atlantic Ocean. And the marine life that we find here are the manatee, the walrus, the orca, spotted eagle ray, green sea turtles, sea lions and narwhals. Orca, the sea lion and the narwhal. The manatee, children, is very similar to the dugong that we saw in Pacific Ocean. Now we come to something very close to our homes, that is the Indian Ocean. It is the third largest of the world's oceanic divisions, and it occupies about 7 crore square kilometers of area. Okay, towards the top of it, it is enclosed by Asia. Towards the west we have Africa, and towards the east we have Australia as well as an archipelago of islands. On the southern part we have the Southern Ocean or Antarctica or the Antarctic Ocean. And inside this Indian Ocean we have got different seas like the Arabian Sea, the Lakshadweep Sea, the Bay of Bengal and the Andaman Seas. This area, children, used to be called the Sindhu Mahasagar also. Sindhu meaning Indian, Mahasagar Maha meaning huge, Sagar meaning sea. So Sindhu, the Indian, huge sea, Indian Ocean. This Indian Ocean is the only ocean which is surrounded on 3 sides by land. Okay, and on the bottom it's got all the water, huge water body. And even this Indian Ocean has got a garbage patch. All right, it's covering at least 5 million square kilometers, situated somewhere around this area. All right, so one thing you need to remember here is the Indian Ocean has got a deepest point called the Sunda or Java Trench, and it has got a number of islands like the Andaman and Nicobar, Sri Lanka, Maldives, Madagascar, Zanzibar, Lakshadweep. All these islands are there, but Lakshadweep and Maldives are coral islands. Okay, one interesting thing about the Indian Ocean is it has got very less marine life, because the water here has got very less oxygen. Okay, and because of that, much marine life cannot exist. Here we have an olive ridley turtle which is newly hatched and is now heading towards the ocean. Here is a shark. Here is a blue whale. Here is Mauritius off the eastern coast of Africa, which has got lovely islands as well as waterfalls under the sea. And here is our Sunda or Java Trench. Other than these, we have humpback whales also, which are found here, and other clams, shellfish, octopuses, and other marine life too. Now the Arctic Ocean is the smallest and the shallowest of the 5 major oceans. It is also the coldest. Okay, and because it is surrounded by land on all sides, almost all sides, and because it is very, very small, some people also call it the Arctic Sea. It is located mostly in the Arctic northern hemisphere. You can see the area which is shown here, isn't it? It's within the 90-degree latitudes. So this area is partly covered by sea ice throughout the year. Only certain areas is melted, but most of the area is covered by a layer of ice, and in the winter it is generally frozen. Okay, and this water body we have here, it is quite shallow also. It's not as deep as the other oceans. It lies within the Arctic Circle, the 90-degree line of latitudes, which is shown in the background here. The North Pole is situated here. Okay, this Arctic Ocean is the least salty also. There is a reason for that. Many rivers drain into the Arctic Ocean, which brings fresh water here. It is generally covered by ice, so that is also a source of fresh water. Therefore, this area has got very, very less salt. And of course, there is less evaporation also. In this area, people have been living for at least 50,000 years. Okay, but they do not stay there throughout the year. If it is too cold, they move down towards the land masses. So because it is generally covered in ice and very few people stay here, this area is largely unexplored. The Arctic Ocean in the image can be seen as a mass of ice. The sea life that we get around here are flying fishes, polar bears, seals, walruses, the beluga whale, polar bears, okay, the polar cod, the herring, and there are lions, marine jellyfishes also, which are very, very abundant in this area. Now we come to the last of our oceans, the Southern Ocean. The Southern Ocean, children, was a part of the Indian Ocean, but now it is also known as the Antarctic Ocean. Okay, it comprises, or it is made up of, the southernmost waters of the world ocean, all the area south of the 60-degree latitude, and it encircles Antarctica. So this Southern Ocean is the second smallest ocean after the Arctic Ocean. Okay, and this ocean is a zone where the cold northward flowing waters from the Antarctic mix with the warmer subantarctic waters of the Pacific, Atlantic and the Indian Oceans. This area has got many minerals like petroleum, coal and gold. It is also not highly explored. Okay, the southernmost tips of Africa, Australia, as well as South America lie within the Southern Ocean. Here, children, a variety of marine lives exist. Okay, and they rely directly or indirectly on the phytoplankton which is found here. And the Antarctic sea life we have here are penguins, blue whales, orcas, squids, as well as fur seals. The topmost here is the fur seal, the middle one is a krill, and the bottom one is a squid which is changing its colors. Other than these, we also find different varieties of penguins, like the emperor penguin, the Adelaide penguin. Then we have the rock hopper, the king penguin, the chinstrap, the gentoo, etc. Okay, other than these, we have the leopard seals, ice fish, etc. So because the Antarctic area does not have much habitation, there are not much people here, many different life forms flourish. So that brings us to the end of our chapter of our subtopic oceans. Children, please go through the video properly. Just don't look at the images and the small GIFs. Okay, just go through the lesson properly. I hope you have understood. If you have any questions, feel free to approach me. Thank you.